Hello and welcome back to our annual Champions League quarter-final predictions. Amid ongoing geopolitical situation in the GCC, in the Gulf region, I think Champions League is a welcome escape. And while we strive to achieve unity through football, so let's get back to the basics. So Arsenal versus Sporting, that's the first quarter-final, or maybe it's the second quarter-final. Arsenal are the clear favourites. I think under Mikel Arteta, this season has been their breakaway season. They're going to win the Premier League. They might win the FA Cup as well. Actually, they have a chance of winning quadruple, but I think that looks a little bit difficult, to be honest. They have a very good chance of winning the Champions League for the first time this season. So Arsenal clear favourites. They're going to beat Sporting, and they're going to be in the semi-finals at least. PSG versus Liverpool. Liverpool has a dibbly-dobbly season in the Premier League. They were not very convincing against Galatasaray, at least in the first leg. But they had a magnificent victory yesterday. I think they beat them 4-0. But it's a high-stakes encounter. PSG, they're the defending champions. They've done really well. It's going to be a close game, by the way. It may be decided on the penalties. You never know. I mean, it's going to be a really close game. I still think that PSG will prevail over Liverpool. This is a tricky one. Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid. You see, Barcelona, last season, they were unlucky. I mean, they lost a very close game against Inter in semi-finals. They're playing really well this season. I think they're going to win the Spanish league for sure. If one thing they didn't want to face in the quarterfinals, that was Atletico Simeone's Atletico Madrid. Diego Simeone, sorry. Diego Simeone, you see, he's very resilient when it comes down to, at least when it comes down to these kind of derbies. He hasn't had much of luck against Real Madrid in the Champions League arena, but boy, you wouldn't bet against him because he has beaten Barcelona two times in the quarterfinals in the Champions League, 2014 and 2016. And Barcelona were favourites to win on both occasions. Now, I do understand that was long time ago, more than 10 years ago. So it's going to be a close game, but given the firepower of Barcelona, I think finally Barcelona might break this hoodoo. They will just scrap away. I mean, they might just win by an odd goal or two. So they will beat Atletico Madrid. Barcelona has habit of squandering big leads actually in the knockout phases. We saw them against Liverpool 2019. We also saw favorite Barcelona in 2000, I think, or 2001 when I think it was, I can't remember the exact year, they lost to Valencia. I think it was 2000 actually. Yeah, they lost to Valencia, and Valencia was basically doing really good during that era of the Champions League, but Barcelona were favourites. So if our memory serves me well, Barcelona has lost to Valencia, they have lost to Atletico Madrid twice, and they also lost to Real Madrid in 2002 in the semi-final stage of the Champions League. So their track record against domestic teams in the knockout phases of the Champions League is actually not that good. But anyway, I'm going to give it a pass. So Barcelona is in the semi-finals. And so then we have, so this is the one I'm looking for, which is one of the most familiar games of at least of this modern era of football, which is Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. These teams have met so many times, so many historical encounters over the past 25, 30 years that it's hard to actually pick who is going to be the winner this time. Real Madrid have not been very convincing, I must say, in the domestic season. I mean, in Syria, sorry, in Spanish league this season, they are still 4 or 5 points behind Barcelona. They have been all right. I mean, they're doing okay in the Champions League. They have just beaten Pep Guardiola's Manchester City convincingly. But again, Manchester City is not doing good at all. I mean, I don't know how come they are second actually, even in the Premier League. They seem to be past their prime. So we cannot judge Real Madrid primarily, uh, I mean, based on performance against Manchester City. I think this is going to be a true encounter. Vincent Company's Bayern Munich, it's a ruthless machine, by the way. They're going to win the Bundesliga, and I think they're going to beat Real Madrid this time. Semi-finals. Okay, so Arsenal, I think they're likely to face Barcelona in the semi-finals. Arsenal-Barcelona, it's going to be a good attacking game. Arsenal has good defense and Barcelona has good attack. Barcelona comes with a lot of experience, um, but they do have defensive frailties as well. Arsenal, well, you see, when I saw Arsenal losing at home against Manchester United, that was one of those games where you could feel that the pressure got better of them. But since then, I'm talking about the Premier League, by the way. But since then, they've handled it really well. So that's why they're clear favourites in the Premier League. Barcelona Arsenal might be decided uh, by an individual brilliance. So, given that Barcelona faltered, I mean, they against Inter Milan last year in the semi-finals, I think that will play in their minds. So I think this may be the first time Arsenal might reach the final of the grand old European Cup in 20 years. Remember 2006? Arsenal prevailing over Villarreal in the semi-finals, and then they lost to Barcelona actually in the final. One of the worst Champions League finals I ever saw. I think there was a red card in the first 15-20 minutes. Arsenal played majority of the game with 10 men. They still managed to score a goal, but then Barcelona, they just basically in the second half they turned it around and they managed to win 2-1. So this time, 20 years on, Arsenal might take a sweet revenge. By the way, Barca fans, watch it out. Second semi-final, PSG, and they're going to face Bayern Munich. I think, this is one of those games where if away goal rule was still there, I would have favored PSG somehow to reach their second consecutive Champions League final. But I think Bayern will get better of PSG. So it will be Arsenal versus Bayern Munich as Champions League final. Who's going to win it? Honestly, I don't have an answer. It's just too close to call. A couple of questions for this summer's FIFA World Cup. Who is going to win the FIFA World Cup? I think this is $1 million question. I don't have an answer, but what I can certainly tell you is Spain have a very good chance of they're already European champions. So, and this is their best chance to win their second FIFA World Cup after their magnificent triumph in 2010, I think so. Yeah, South Africa. Argentina is not going to win the World Cup this time. I think their squad is a little bit too old, aged. Brazil has a chance. I'm not ruling them out. They last time when the World Cup was played in USA, they did manage to win it under Dunga, and that was not a classic Brazilian team. It was quite boring to watch them in that World Cup, but they did the job. England has a very good chance. I think England since 2018 have done reasonably well in in World Cups, by the way. So I'm not saying that they're going to win the World Cup, but they have a very good chance of making it all the way to the final. And the last one is France. France is always there. I think this is going to be the last World Cup as head coach for Didier Deschamps. France has done remarkably well under him. Managed to win the World Cup in 2018, reached the final, lost in Qatar, close final, lost on penalties. They have a very good chance as well. And finally, please do not forget to buy my latest book, Stumps and Sovereignty. Basically, it's a magnificent book. It traces the journey of cricket from its imperial origins to its contemporary presence. So, all cricket fans, please, the link is there, Amazon link is there. You should buy it and basically go through the journey of cricket. Eid Mubarak to everybody, and we'll see you next year. Goodbye.